Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 6 here on Stone Valley with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, it is the next day. Um, you didn't really miss too much. Uh, the plowing and the seeding of our field here were the only things that we did yesterday. Now, there was enough time that we could have got the rolling done, but I just left it because I knew we had all day today to get it done. Just needs to be done this month. And I took the afternoon to kind of get our sheds organized, and I gave the rest of the family kind of the day off. So I got everything kind of tucked away, I think, where it's going to live. Now, most things are where they were, but there were a few changes. Now, you might notice everything is looking shiny and clean now. That's because I got our workshop sorted out. Now, you're going to see something is a little different. Now, originally, what I did is using placeables, built up a workshop and a wash bay in the building that was sitting here, that, came with the farm set. And once I had that all done, I went to close the doors, and that's when I realized there were no doors. It was just an open pole building, so I didn't think that was going to work for a workshop. Now, I did look at putting one of these two buildings in place of it, but unfortunately they were a bit longer. It just really wasn't going to work out, so I went looking for a workshop, and I found this one. Now, it doesn't match too bad, other than it would have been nice if the colors were reversed. It's actually the exact opposite of the existing building, where the main tin is red and it's got a white roof and white trim. This has got a red roof and red trim, and the main building's white, but it's of a very similar style, I think, so it's not too bad, and it has the advantage that it's already set up. So the only thing I added was a sprayer station over here, so we have a wash bay. But other than that, everything was here, so it makes a pretty tidy little workshop, I think. So that's what we're going to use. Now, I put this in at no expense to us, just because we should have had a workshop on the farm of some sort. So hopefully that doesn't get anybody too excited. Yeah, we'll go with that for now. So we got a nice workshop and wash bay. I tucked away some of our materials, our seed bags and that, or our lime bags, I should say, in here. And I did hear from the bank. One of the advantages with this building, it's a little bit. It's actually shaped the opposite. It's got about the same footprint, but in the opposite direction. It's wider than it is deep. The other one was deeper than it was wide, if that makes sense. But it gives us a little bit more room to put our silos here. And I did hear from the bank, and we got approval. They'll let us, put it in from the farm funds. We don't need to take it out of our $53,000 that we have, that the farm has for equipment. And because this building's a little longer, or a little larger this direction, I think I'll kind of put it in this area here, and that'll leave us room for expansion if we want to put some other small silos in for something. So that is going to happen at some point today. But I gave the day off to the family, let them relax, because they've all been working hard. And I'm hoping next month will be a busy month. Maybe we'll get some corn harvest, and we're going to get set up, and we're going to do some rolling here on this field. Now, I have our leased roller. I've used this roller a few times, and sometimes it works just dandy, and then other times I have issues with it. And also, we've got it sized so that we're actually just a little undersized on our tractor horsepower. I think if memory serves, it needs 240, and we're like at 228. So I will do this myself here just to see how it works, so we can decide whether we want to keep this or return it, because it is leased. So I need to get the time cranked back on, so I will do that, and I will join you right back here. So see you in just a minute. Well, there we go. The time is cranked back up. We're ready to jump in our tractor here and get it fired up. Now, I came across an interesting mod that allows us to turn off the HUD and that, so that's kind of cool. Oh, Courseplay one is still up there. That's not that obtrusive anyways. So we'll get our roller unfolded here. Now I think we'll have to do this out of cab, I'm afraid, at least to get going. Now, like I mentioned, we're a little shy on horsepower, and the issue I've had with this roller, at least I think it was just actually on one map, and it might have been the map, is that it wouldn't track with the tractor and start to skid around, like moving from side to side. Now I haven't used it since then, and it seems to be okay, but I just wanted to make sure that it was going to work fine on here. Might have been a map issue. I honestly can't remember which map that was that I tried using it. And it was the very first time I tried to use it, and then I think pretty much ever since then it's worked just fine, but, you know, a little bit gun shy. And particularly since we're running a little low on horsepower, not a whole lot, like less than 10 horsepower, I think. Just kind of wanted to try before you buy. But so far seems to be working just fine. Now, I don't plan on showing you a ton of this rolling, just enough that we know that the roller is going to work and you get to see it in action. Because unless a contract pops up, but kind of looking at the state of the field, I don't think we're going to see another contract this month. We'll get this rolling done. I'll get the silo installed and we'll move to the next day. And fingers crossed then, I'm hoping there are some contracts. There's some cornfields that look like they should be ready to harvest next month, so I'm really kind of hoping they come in. That's kind of what I was saving that $53,000 for. I've been keeping a close eye on the used market because I would like to pick up a corn header because we don't have one of those yet, unfortunately. If we don't get anything used, we might actually end up just having to lease that because they are pricey little animals. So far though, this seems to be working just fine, just as it should. Looking across there at the yard, that shed doesn't look too out of place, I don't think. Would have been nice if the colors were reversed, but is what it is. It's kind of the closest thing I could find that would fit in there anyways, in the space we had. The shape is a little more advantageous to us because we have more room across the back. Now that silo going to get put in, it holds 100,000 liters total of anything. Like it'll hold any of your farm products, line, fertilizer, seed, that sort of thing. Now in that type of silo, I know it's not very realistic that you wouldn't be able to have multiple product types in. So that's why I'm kind of happy that we've got a longer space across the back there, because eventually what I'd like to do is maybe put in 3 of those silos so we have a individual silo for each product. Just unfortunately we don't have the money right now, so we'll just get by with one. But in the future we may do something a bit more realistic. Now let's try not to drag you through the trees here, and I'm infamous for that, as you all know. Yeah, but this setup looks like it's going to work just fine, which is good news. Now I do have the lease to own mod on, so we may, if this continues to work well, of course depending on what the contract situation is, we will likely keep this to buy it out. We do need to keep up about $100,000 in the farm account so that we can pay our bills throughout the winter. So we have to, that's critical. If we've got that before we sell the wheat, then all of the money from the wheat sale we can use to buy down the loan that the bank is holding. Which actually won't reduce our monthly commitment, but will reduce the length of time required to pay the loan out. And will reduce the interest as well. So, and we can't really expand until we get that paid off. So we got to make the most we can on this field, and then we're relying on farmers in the area needing a hand. And they've actually been pretty generous so far, I have to say, especially because we're new to the area. We've gotten a fair bit of work. We certainly can't complain. And fingers crossed that'll carry on next month. But I think it's safe to say that this roller is going to work just fine for us. Well, I hope the family's getting rested up, and because I really hope next month's a busy month. That would be awesome for us if it is. The house is pretty much settled now, so they're all anxious, especially Emily, our daughter, to get out and get in the tractor again. She's as well versed as Jim is, so we'll definitely be putting her to work. But I think you can say that this is going to work just fine. So we'll leave you there. I'll carry on and get this done. And I'll bring you back in next month, hopefully with some other contracts to do. So we will see you next month. Well, welcome back to the farm. It is the next day, first day of October. As you can see, our silo did arrive and has been placed. I finished up with the rolling before lunchtime, which was a good thing because we got some rain in the afternoon, but it gave me time to get the products we had sitting around in there. So that's all been taken care of. Now it's a little bit later in the day, but that doesn't mean things didn't get started early here on the farm. The phone started ringing yesterday afternoon with local farmers who were looking to get some work done this month, so that is good news. We'll talk some more about that in just a minute. But first, take a look at this. We have weeds in our field. Now I'm surprised to see that, seeing as we plowed it. I wouldn't have thought we would have gotten weeds. I don't know if that's because of the modded plow we used, or because after the fact I went in AZ Dev and made some adjustments, but whatever the case may be, we've got weeds, so we need to take care of that. But like I said, the phone was ringing, and if we take a look here, there are a number of contracts. Now there were 3 fertilizing ones. You can see one is complete already. We were up early this morning and we had a little meeting over breakfast, and Jim and Emily decided they'd take on these fertilizing contracts. So they have the 7810, the spreader, and the pickup truck with the auger wagon, and they're working on that. And obviously they've completed this one already. Now, my plan wasn't that they would be done, but I've had a few issues. If you take a look at the map, I was actually going to get them to start on field 20, which is right here. The reason being is close to the shop and we're going to need some fertilizer. When I tried to set up course play on here, it only selected this area of the field, which actually would have been fine, but it couldn't generate a course even on that area. And now I went and restarted the game, still no luck. So I moved over here to 14 and they were working away on this. And then just as I about to record, it got an error and they stopped. And it said that the driver had lost the course. So I went back and restarted it. It happened every time. So the last 20% I just did by myself. So the story is that Emily and Jim are off working on these fertilizing contracts, but I was hoping they'd be going on in parallel with what we're going to be doing, but that didn't work out. So I will stop time and do them off camera as if they were doing them in parallel. So enough of that. Now we have, just left this open. We are going to work on, we have this spraying contract for weeds. We're going to have to lease a sprayer for that. But the contract is of high enough value, I don't mind doing that. And we do have a harvesting contract. One of the cornfields came up and we're going to have to lease a corn header or buy a corn header for that. We're actually going to leave that contract to last in the hopes that a corn header does come up and used in the meantime. But the first thing we're going to do, no, don't want to do that. I want to do that. I've already talked to the shop and we are going to lease this weeder. Now the reason I'm going with this one, because it'll do small and medium weeds. And I know it says small, but I've gotten trapped by that before, that there's medium weeds in the field. And then some of these others will only do small. So we are going to lease that. So let's go ahead and lease that sucker. So this is for our field. We're going to do this. And once we're done with it, we're going to return it. And we are going to lease a sprayer. And we'll just go with this Kubota one here. And now you may be wondering why I just don't spray the weeds with the sprayer. Well, that's because the spot spray is almost as much as that weeder. As you can see, 39,000 to add it. But with precision farming, we'll actually get more yield if we use the weeder rather than spot spraying. Spot spraying will increase our environmental score, but that increased environmental score can't overcome the loss in yield that we'll get by spraying. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just lease this without spot spray to do the spraying. We'll see how fast it goes through the herbicide. I may go and lease a tank as well for the front, so we have additional capacity. So let's head down to the shop and we'll get that weeder first and get our field looked after. Now, now why didn't? Why are my hazards not coming on? Yeah, something else. They were working earlier. Oh well. Don't know why they don't want to come on now. Oh, there they go. They must have just pushed the wrong button. Well, and you can see our money has gone down. So it was 15,000 for the silo, and then we took our wage out of the farm account. That was 4,000, and we sent 1,400 over to the bank to cover off the loan payment for the month. So that explains where our money went. Now there you can see there's the kids sitting there. They're just getting ready to move. Too bad they weren't actually doing something when we drove by, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I've used course play on this map and not had any issue. Not quite sure what's going on, but we'll figure it out. I certainly hope so anyway. Yeah, so that's what happened with our money. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. We are going to need to buy some more fertilizer. We did have some on hand. but we certainly don't have enough to do all those contracts. And it was only $2,000 to lease the sprayer, but we'll have to buy some herbicide. But I looked, I'm kind of hoping that some other spraying contracts may come up too as well. But both the sprayer and the weeder will return when we're done with them. Now, when we were sitting and discussing this over coffee this morning, or breakfast I should say, and kind of making plans for the day, it didn't take long for the kids to point out that I shouldn't have sold that old pickup truck, because we are flat out of vehicles. My wife Sarah is stuck at home right now because she's got no choice. Although she said she might come along and ride along with me here at some point throughout the day. But the kids couldn't resist rubbing it in, and you know what? I have to admit they're probably right on that. Could have used that old truck. Might have to do something about that. Well, these older tractors don't have very high road speed though. Oh, shoot. I guess my duals were sticking out there a little bit. Whoopsie. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. Now we will probably weed rather than spray going forward. But I don't know if this will be the weeder we'll go with or not in the long run. We'll stay out of cab here to make sure we get across the bridge safely and don't take you out any more of the locals. Anyways, you kept me company on the trip down. I think that's probably good enough. I will meet you back at the farm and we'll do some weeding. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Well, I made it back to the farm without taking any more of the locals out, so that's probably a good thing. I also took the opportunity to check the time on how long we've been recording, and so I think all we'll have time left for in this episode is to show some of this weeding. There is another 3-point weeder in the Horsch that's a little bit larger than this one. I think it also runs a little faster. That's the one I'd like to get for our use on the farm, but it takes a little bit more horsepower than we have. No, although to be fair, I think it's got pretty much the same horsepower rating as the roller had, and we managed to pull that okay. But anyways, this one's doing the job for now. And I've gotten burnt by, when it says small weeds and getting the small weeder and then finding out there's medium weeds in the field too, and they're left behind. So I tend not to use those. Unless, of course, you can actually weed right after you've seeded or rolled, but I wasn't expecting weeds, so I didn't even think to look. And then those small weeders work just fine. Yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate. I don't know why Courseplay is acting up and what I've done. I don't remember what fields I used it on and which ones I didn't, but that's 2 fields I've had an issue with. Now, when I do those off camera, like I said, I will stop time, because the idea was that these would be happening in parallel. They'd be working on fertilizing while I was doing this. But other events or work that's going on, if it's off camera, I do keep the clock running at the same rate, so we don't have an infinite amount of time available to us to get our work done. Now, in order to do that harvest contract too, can't forget we need to buy a trailer for our truck, or lease a trailer, because wasn't all that happy with the one we had before, so I returned it. So that'll be another expense that we have to take into account. Now, the bank has asked for a conference call here later today. They just kind of want to review how things are going, and just want to make sure we're still on track. Doing our video call, I should say, rather than actually meeting, because they know it's a busy time of year around the farm. So I appreciate that. So we'll see what they have to say. Well, this is going to take a little while. It's not super wide, and we can't go very fast. Like I said earlier, I'm not planning right now anyways to do a lot of productions. We may do some, we may do none. But I wasn't planning on being heavily production focused, and that's the reason we're better off to get the extra yield in our crops and use a mechanical weeder and take the hit on the environmental score. But if you have lots of productions and are selling a lot of products, then you are likely better off to go with the spot spray to get the environmental score up, to get the maximum dollars for all the products that you're making. Although you would think, that using a mechanical weeder rather than a chemical would technically be more environmentally friendly. Maybe because it's not as we're not covering. No, did it leave weeds? Oh no, that's just a shaft. I thought it left weeds behind. It was just the lights coming through the trees. Yeah, we think that this would actually be more environmentally friendly than spraying, my thinking. But maybe there's, they're taking into account the number of the amount of diesel you burn running around the field with a weeder than a large sprayer. I don't know. No idea. Boy, we're starting to fill up the yard, aren't we? And our sheds are, well, we still have room, obviously, but they're getting a little bit full too. Yeah, this is where it gets a little tricky, trying to see where you've gone. All you can tell is by where the weeds are, which I guess is good enough. I mean, that is the purpose. You can always look afterwards at the crop map and see if you've missed any areas. Well, we've seen this old girl in the field a fair bit lately, haven't we? Initially, we were working with the 7810, and Jim was using this tractor, 4955, but lately we've been using it. Roles are reversed. Hopefully I didn't miss any doing that. Because I'm still in control, it's not GPS. That usually when I try and do something like that goes horribly wrong. End up driving off course dramatically. Oh, you know what? We need to fertilize this field too. I just realized. Oh, can't forget about that. That would be bad. So I think what we'll do is I will leave you here pretty soon because I think that will be pretty close to an episode. What we'll do is I will get this weeding done on the clock and our field fertilized. And then I will stop the clock there and get our fertilizing contracts done. And then that is where we'll come back in to start the next episode, whether that's later today or if it takes up the entire day. I don't suspect it will. I think we'll still have some time, but we'll carry on from there with like our spraying contracts, and who knows, maybe some other ones will come up. So that's kind of the plan. Hopefully I can get the courseplay issue figured out, because that's one of the things I was really looking forward to help reduce the amount of off-camera hours, because I could be running 2 or 3 operations using courseplay rather than just doing everything myself. Be a little bit disappointing if that isn't the case. Maybe just a couple fields that are giving us problems. It is what it is, as they say. I can play around some more too off camera. I didn't have a whole lot of time because I wanted to get this recording in before I hit a deadline here in real life. But anyways, I am pretty sure that will be an episode. They have tended to be a little bit on the longer side, which is fine. I'm going with more where's a good spot for this story to end than worrying about the length of the episodes. But I think this is a pretty good place to stop because we have a bunch of off-camera work to do. And we should be at least 30 minutes, I'm thinking. So I'll get all of that taken care of, and then we'll bring you back in and we'll carry on with the next episode. So if you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, I encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode, here on Stone Valley, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.